The founding fathers are the people who said, we are a moral and just people and we demand, right? We have these rights, they're inalienable, and we must fight for what is right for us and our families at great personal risk, sacrificing their blood and treasure, and even in some cases their families, putting their families at risk so that they could fight for what was best for the entirety of this nation. And then the mentality changed at some point. Now the advice you're given is just keep your head down and make money. Ignore all of this. And where we are now is the average person today says, I will not risk myself, my life, my sacred blood and treasure, or my family. There were founding fathers whose children were kidnapped, whose families were kidnapped and used as leverage for prisoner exchanges, whose homes were seized by the British, by the Crown, cities that were entirely occupied and they were forced to flee. And today you have people saying, well, I can't do that because I have a family and I can't put my family at risk. It's like, okay, well, you're the opposite of the founding fathers. And perhaps I know, easy for me to say, I don't have kids, but I'll just make sure you understand that, like, the founding fathers were like, even if it means my family is kidnapped, even if it means I die, even if it means I have nothing left to my name, I stand for what must be. And today it's inverted. Today it's, I'm going to lock my door, hide, and hope that it passes over.
And it's people are doing well. Even the poor people are doing well because of fascism, because we've bought off half the world, the slave trade of half the world, mining these rare earth minerals and stuff for us.
That's China.
Yeah, and in like the Congo, like I don't know.
Cobalt mines.
Yeah, geez, it's disgusting. So truly, fascism is dangerous in that it's peaceful, or it can be very peaceful, and people have been sedated by this.
But I think it's really simple. The current way of life that we have, you can work for an hour. If you're like the average American salary, you work a couple hours and you're going to go have a hibachi dinner with your family. Life is easy. So nobody wants to risk it. That's it.
Yeah. Let me go back to what Ian said before, though. When you ask, like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to have a microphone and have the loudest voice? Am I supposed to hide away with my family? Like, how am I supposed to fight back against this? Because we are living in a unique point of history. Like, no, we're not in Nazi Germany. Like, you can't replicate anything exactly in history, but we're at a dangerous point in our country, right? Where if what happens to Trump, if he's criminalized for free speech, I mean, you and I, all of us sitting here have to wonder, okay, we've questioned the same things about the 2020 election. Like, are we next? Like, where does that, like, what's the limiting principle on that? Like, we all could be on the line at the whim of a government. And I think this is one of the things that the Republican Party has lost sight of. This is one of my biggest critiques with the Republican Party, is that there is a just use of government, right? We often conflate the idea of a limited government with essentially no government. And that's not what limited government means. Limited government means a government with enumerated powers that is accountable to the people, that is run by the people. It means that it's not a dictator that has unlimited authority. It doesn't mean that there's no just use of the government. And we as Republicans have forgotten that. We've demonized anything to do with government. Oh, we don't want government involved in that. We don't want to use government for this. We'd rather use family and free market and all of that, which is fine. But we also have to use the government to fight back against these things. We are not, just by ordering our families properly, going to be able to abolish the administrative state. We're not just by sitting here behind microphones going to be able to recapture our education system. There are things we have to use the government for, the just power of the government for, to recapture if we want to stop what the left is doing to our society, and if we want to reclaim our society, which is supposed to be how the founders envisioned it, right? So you and I should, I mean, even if we are, I know I'm more right-wing than you are, but we should be holding our politicians accountable for that, because everything can't be done on an individual basis. I know this is what conservatives have told us for the past 50 years, that everything's just about like us and our families. And yeah, that's important, but it's also using the government. And if we did that, we'd be a lot more successful.
I'd like to break up a lot of corporations, especially the tech corporations. They're just too monopolistic. Google, Alphabet, I love you guys.
Meta.
Thanks for letting us stream right now, but come on, the corporation's way too big.
Yeah,
too dangerous.
Google, you got to break them up. Meta, you got to break them up. X, you're cool. You can stay.
But what they did with Rockefeller was they went into Standard Oil and broke it up into like 8 oil companies that Rockefeller still had a piece of. So he became even more wealthy and influential after the breakup. So we have to, knowing that, we can't break up Alphabet the same way. That's why I advocate for freeing their software code, because it's kind of like you reduce their power, you create an opportunity for the market to compete if the code is available, and whoever has the best means of like terms of service, their organizations will win out. But I think we need government for that, because otherwise people would resort to sabotage, and I don't want to do that. I don't want boycott's not enough.